The Sarmatians were one of the ancestors of the Ossetians, and they had a very interesting influence in Europe. And I want you to join me as I go to Romania to explore their legendary influence. Good morning from Cluj, Romania, where it will soon be time to explore the influence of the Roxolani tribe on this beautiful region. It's raining outside and I want to wait. Greetings from Cluj in Romania, where behind me you see the honour of the Romanian soldiers who have given their lives over the years for this land. However, they are not the only warriors to have existed here in Cluj. There were also the Roxolani tribe, whose legacy I'm here to explore. But in order for us to understand the legacy of the Roxolani tribe, we must first understand who they were. In the 1st century, in this region of Europe, the Iranic nomads were coming through here, the Roxolani being one of them. And for the Romans who existed here in this time and what was in Dacia, they would actually become the greatest thorn in their side that ever was. Now, you would see no such activity here today in the urban areas of Cluj of what exactly the Roxolanis got up to. But it was in and around here that for decades they were raiding Roman settlements here and causing them a great deal of stress. Here you see a depiction of what the Roxolani warriors looked like. Known as the Shining Warriors, two things made them stand out from other Sarmatian groups. As you can see here, they had armour on their horses, and on top of that, they were actually a semi-nomadic people. The Sarmatians were normally very nomadic and constantly travelled from one place to another. However, the Roxolani would actually even often settle down and farm. And while there is little evidence of these settlements today, one thing that has been found constantly in Transylvania and even Cluj, where I am, and in the general district area, is actually the armour that the Roxolani used for their horses and for themselves. However, despite their having armour and there being settlements, this would not save them from their fate. In the 2nd century, they would be annihilated by the Goths, and then in the 4th century, they would be completely assimilated into the Alans, forever going into history. So this concludes the investigation of the influence of the Roxolani here in Cluj, Romania. Unfortunately, there is not really any trace anymore, apart from maybe in some museums and from ancient history books that you can buy in one of the various bookstores here in Cluj. But, however, this has been definitely a fun journey to have gone on, actually investigating the Scythians. And I'll tell you this will not be the last time I go abroad to investigate a Scythian tribe, or a Sarmatian tribe as the Roxolani were. But as a little treat, I'll show you some pictures I took of the National Museum of Transylvania, showing some depictions by the Romans of what we can assume to be the Roxolani tribe, according to the curator of the museum. While it is very hard to make out on this stone because, as you can see, it is quite very much in ruins due to, well, natural time, this is a Roman depiction of a Roxolani warrior in the 2nd century AD. And this was a piece invented by the Romans in the 2nd century also that was called the barbarian peoples, and at that time the barbarian peoples in this region were the Roxolani. So while yes, I cannot 100% confirm this to be Roxolani because the curator could also not confirm it to be Roxolani, it is very likely that this was indeed actually a depiction of a Roxolani fighter on his horse. If you made it this far, thank you very much for watching this. It was a lot of fun to actually make this for you. And if you have any ideas on where you want me to go next to investigate Scythians or Sarmatians or whoever else, let me know. I'll happily do what I can. So after a wonderful time in Eastern Europe, coming back to you from Northwestern Europe, spokojnej nocy.